My uncle laughed when my dad died and said we'd lose everything. Now he pays rent to live in my basement. When I was 16, my dad died suddenly from a heart attack. It was the worst day of my life, and unfortunately, that day also showed me just how rotten some people in my family really were. My dad had built everything we had: our home, his small construction company, a comfortable savings account. He wasn't flashy or loud about it, but he worked his butt off to make sure my mom and I were secure. The night he died, our house was full of relatives and neighbors who came to comfort us. Some actually meant it. Others were there to sniff around. Enter my Uncle Robert, my dad's younger brother. He walked in late, smelling like beer, and with zero sense of decency. He took one look around and smirked at me. "Guess you guys are screwed now," he said casually, as if he was talking about the weather. "Without him, you'll probably lose everything." I froze. My mom's face went pale, but Robert just strolled to the kitchen like he hadn't just kicked a grieving widow and her teenage kid in the gut. The days that followed were worse. He started offering advice to my mom about selling the house to downsize or letting him take over the business because you can't run it without a man. He'd say it in this fake sympathetic voice, but it was so obvious he was circling for scraps. He told neighbors we were drowning in debt. We weren't. He hinted to other family members that mom couldn't keep the house up for long. I overheard him telling a cousin, "Don't get too attached to that place. The bank will take it." Then came the final straw. At my dad's memorial, I saw him laughing with someone, actually laughing, and I caught the tail end of his sentence. "Death really changes the pecking order." That moment burned itself into my memory. I promised myself that one day, if I ever had the chance, I'd make him eat those words. Fast forward 12 years. I'm 28 now. My mom and I didn't lose the house. I went to college thanks to my dad's savings. I started my own career in real estate, worked like hell, and eventually owned several rental properties. Robert, on the other hand, burned his life to the ground. He hopped between get-rich-quick schemes, gambled away most of what he earned, got divorced twice, and alienated nearly everyone in the family. One day, I got a call from a mutual acquaintance. "Just so you know, Robert's getting evicted. Can't pay rent, has nowhere to go." At first, I wasn't going to get involved, but then I remembered that smirk, that laugh, that comment about losing everything, and suddenly, I had the perfect idea. I called him. "Hey, I heard you're looking for a place," I said casually. He sounded tired. "Yeah, know anyone with something cheap? Times are rough." I did my best to keep the smile out of my voice. "I've got a basement unit available. Nothing fancy, but clean. $800 a month, utilities included." He hesitated. "That's kinda steep. You could do better for family, right?" "Oh, don't worry," I said. "You'll find it worth it." 2 weeks later, he moved in. He didn't even ask who owned the place, but 3 days after moving, I was upstairs working when I heard heavy banging on the ceiling. I went down to find him standing at the door, glaring. "You own this place?" he asked, his voice tight. "Yep," I said, leaning casually against the wall. His face twisted. "So I'm paying you rent?" "Looks that way," I replied. He stared at me for a second before saying, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "Not as much as you enjoyed laughing at my dad's funeral," I said evenly. That shut him up. He went back inside without another word. Over the next few months, he kept his distance. He always paid on time, probably because he knew I'd have no hesitation kicking him out. He stopped making snide comments, but the resentment was obvious. One time, he tried to hint that I should lower his rent since we're family. The irony is, to outsiders, he spins the story like I'm some saint for helping him out with a place to live. He never mentions that he's paying me rent. He never mentions what he said to me and my mom the night my dad died. But last week, I came home to find a strange car parked in my driveway. Inside my basement unit, Robert was sitting at the table with a man in a suit, real estate papers spread out between them. And when they saw me, they both stopped talking. Full story on channel, link below.